Okay, we're back. Hello, everybody again. We're going to talk now today about OPUs in this part of the session. OPU needles, like you know, again, I'm going to start doing the same. I'll share a video with you. And through the video, I'll be commenting on some of the features of our needles. And then I'll go through the presentation, and like we did it for the ET, we can discuss. I'm not sure, Honor, if your hand is raised from now or from before, but if you would like to talk, just please go ahead. No, I think it's from before. Okay, great. So let me share with you the video to start a video of an OPU. Okay, so here we see how they're opening. This is our needle. In this case, they're using a 19G needle. You see, is the white one. You know, with Kitazato, we have a very wide range of needle gauges. So we have these thin ones. That is a great product that doctors are really happy. So in this case, is starting the OPU. Just connecting the needle to the tube, okay? And it's all set up for the doctor to, once it's ready, get the needle. So we have the tube or 37 liquid, and the pressure. It's very important that we adjust the pressure properly. In this case, for the 19G, I told you, the pressure is 215. Sometimes the doctors, they tend to be a little bit conservative on the pressure, but we need to teach them properly that they need to adjust the pressure, otherwise the flow doesn't go as it should be. Okay, so in this case we see the OPU in the screen. The black balls that we see are the follicles containing the follicular fluid. We see in this case how the needle goes through. We see very well that the needle is, the tip of the needle is echogenic, so we see properly, which is extremely important in case we are doing OPUs, okay? Like you see, it's emptying the follicular fluid that is going to go through our system to the tube, and then we'll transfer it to the lab, okay? It's basically like, imagine like a balloon filled with water. So you have to go through the balloon and then aspirate all the water. And then the balloon, it becomes smaller, so the membrane, and it kind of disappears in the image. Now, always when, in this case, the doctor is switching from one ray to another, and it has performed a little bit of a rinsage of the OPU needle, okay? So this is the part in the lab. We receive the tubes with that follicular fluid that we got from the follicles in the ovary. And we have to look for the cumulus oocyte complexes. She's aspirating those cumulus oocyte complexes that we see now in the image more clear, okay? That's it, the video. I hope you enjoy, so you have more an idea how are used in the lab, or in the OR and in the lab. And let's go now a little bit with the presentation of the OPU needles. Let me share with you. Okay, so Kitazato OPU needles, first of all, to let you know that it's a great product, that we have really good feedback from it, and doctors that are using are happy about it. Our needles that we're gonna see, I'll explain you all the features and the characteristics that we have. They're very sharp, so sometimes at the beginning the doctors are going to complain about it, or they are very flexible because they are very thin. But you need to also teach them that they need a little curve of learning once they are using our needles, because if they're used to other needles that are less sharp, they're gonna go very hard into the patient, and our needles are gonna create damage because they're gonna go through the whole follicle, and they can create some bleeding. But if we explain them this properly to them and to teach them to be careful with the, especially with the thinner needles, okay, they'll be very happy with the product. So as you know, this is the IVF process, step by step, like you know, ovarian stimulation. Then we're at oocyte pickup. After the ovarian stimulation, we basically have to retrieve the eggs. So naturally, a woman is going to produce one follicle, okay? And we give hormones for them to produce, instead of one follicle, multiple follicles, so we can, in one IVF cycle, get about 10 to 15 oocytes and increase the chances of pregnancy for that patient, right? So we're in this point where we're going to be using our OPU needles. Once again, just this is an IVF timeline, what's happening in the lab each day to make a little bit of a refreshment. Like I said, OPU is on the day 0 with the sperm processing, and then also with insemination, either ICSI or standard IVF. Then day 1, we basically check fertilization, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's culture. And 5 and 6, we're going to be doing embryo transfer. And in case we do PGT, it's going to be the trophoctoderm biopsy in day 5 or 6. Okay, so our needles, we have a wide range of OPU needles. We have from 21G to from 16G, sorry, to 21. Okay, so they are developed in Japan, where they do a lot of, sorry, where they do a lot of mild stimulation, okay, and where the patients are also very small, and where they don't do they do not use anesthesia. So because of that, they have developed a very thin needles. So if we start, this is the 16G, this is 17, 18, this is the 19 one, 20 and 21. So we even have in Japan, they use also 22Gs, okay? So they're very thin, but we have this wide range of needles. And the reason why it's, like I explained you, in Japan, they do a lot of IBM, mild stimulation, and no anesthesia. So the thinner the needle, the less the damage through the patient, okay? So that's why they are able to do it with no anesthesia, because it's very, very thin. So what is important in a needle, what we want us to have a needle. So we need good visibility, we need a good function, and we need a good handling, okay? Those are the key factors for a successful OPU. Then our needles are designed to meet all these criteria, to we offer these characteristics to our customers, okay? So like I was saying, our needles, in terms of function, they are very, very sharp. So the sharpest the needle, the clearer the cut, right? So then I'm gonna have less bleeding, I'm gonna have less damage to the tissue, and it basically cuts through the tissue, it doesn't break it, okay? So this is like if I'm making an example, when I'm in a restaurant and order a steak, if I get a good knife, I'm gonna have a clear cut and I'm gonna enjoy that meat. If I get a knife that is not cutting but breaking my piece of meat, then the experience is not gonna be the same. So for the patients are basically the same idea, okay? I need a sharp needle, and I need it to cut properly, not to break the tissue. So then we have also the sharp bevel, like I said, this triple cut bevel that is very sharp. And then I have this thin wall design that we have here in the image on the right. So basically, with the thin wall design, we do not compromise the inner diameter of the needle. Okay, so we have a thinner needle, but we don't compromise the inner diameter. This allows a very thin needle, basically, but big enough inner diameter to allow the follicular fluid to flow properly. Okay. Another characteristic of our needles. A needle is visible basically if we can see it under the ultrasound, like we've seen in the video. So this is it means it's echogenic. So, and in order to be echogenic, we need a difference in the surface. Okay. In our case, our needles undergo a superficial micro sweeping with laser. Okay, like you see here, and it's from to the very tip of the needle. This reflects very well, but it doesn't generate any relief. So if we actually touch the needles, we are gonna see that there is no resistance, no relief on the surface of the needle. And allows the needle to go through the tissue very smooth with no resistance, and no part of the tissue are gonna get touched. Okay. Also, the echogenic tips, like I said, goes to the very tip of the needle. And if we look at the competencies, the other have just lines, or they are very, there is a relief, you know, like a difference in the surface where tissue can get attached and can cause some damage. Then the last characteristic of our needles is the good handling, okay? So our handling is larger, like I said. It's more comfortable for gynecologists that sometimes have big hands and big fingers, okay? It has a position mark for the bevel orientation. So this part of the needle, when I have this part going at 3 o'clock, then I know the tip of the bevel of the needle is straightforward. Okay, it's like in front of me. It's straight. And then, like, the gynecologist can rotate the needle, basically knowing all the time where is the bevel that punctures the follicles. So let's talk about aspiration pressure for different needle gauges. Like I said in the video, it's very important that we tell our customers this information. So we have here the aspiration pressure needed for the different types of gauges that we have. So we see like we need to increase the pressure as we decrease the diameter of the needle. Okay, this is basically like a straw. So I need to aspirate the proper with the proper strength to get a regular flow. Okay. If my flow is slow, if my pressure is not high enough, then I'll have to increase the pressure basically, otherwise I don't get the flow that I need. Okay, so this table is in our website. You can recommend to our customers basically. And then let's see all the references that we have. So also regarding of the pressure, people, like I said, tend to use lower pressure than needed. But if the pressure is too low, then I have the risk to recover less oocytes, basically. Okay. So also, if the flow is too slow, the temperature of the follicular fluid, it's gonna take longer time. So I need the appropriate time in the system to maintain the temperature that with no droppings. Okay. Like I said, and if the flow is too fast, then it will create some stress to the COCs, to the oocyte, cumulus oocyte complexes. Okay, so if your customers are complaining about the pressure, about this, it gets blocked, it doesn't aspirate enough, etc., always review what pressure are they using and go through this table that I show you here. to make sure they are using the right pressure, because if not, then that's the issue. So they only have to correct the pressure, and then we'll see better results. So this constant flow is very important. So some needles, like the Vitrolife needle, the Sense needle from Vitrolife, for example, are wider after the tip. So the flow is not constant, okay? So we have also this as an advantage, as a competitive advantage for our needles, where the flow is completely constant. Sorry. And then here for the double lumen needles as well. So we have different gauges, basically. It's a needle inside another needle, you know that. And the 17G needle is equivalent to the 19G single lumen, okay, in terms of the pressure. Marked trend, before I go into the references, is that people is using thinner needles, and that's an advantage for us because we already have the needles and we have experience with it, and we have a lot of happy customers with the thin needles, okay? So the tendency is to do not use very big needles or wide. And like the reason is because we're gonna cause less damage. It's kind of less invasive for the patient. It causes less trauma, less bleeding. The patient recovers easily from that. And in some cases, it can also be performed with no anesthesia. So the cost of the procedure is also, or availability of the needle is of the anesthesia, sorry, it's a problem. Like I talk by experience in Canada, the OPUs were with no anesthesia, and they were also using a small or 19G needles. So then let's go through the references, okay? But I just wanted to also tell you that the trend in the market is with using thinner needles. So you can maybe share your experience with that later if you want, if you are having the same feedback from younger doctors maybe, or if more experienced doctors are still using 16, 17Gs, or if they are also like to try the 19 and 18, 19Gs. So let's see the references. Again, you know, it's very residual. Not many people uses manual aspiration, but we still have the option. Basically, it's a needle, and then they connect the syringe and they aspirate manually. This is kind of very dangerous because it creates a lot of movement with the in the hands of the gynecologist. For that, we also have with the lure lock connection. So instead of putting the syringe here directly, we have the line connection. So this is the other reference that we have. And those are the references that we have for manual aspiration. Like I said, it's not a lot of places that they use, but still some. So then we have pump aspiration that we have discussed about the importance of choosing the right pressure. In this case, we have single lumen needle from 16G to 21, like you see here in the picture, and then the one that we have seen in the video, okay, with a 80 centimeters aspiration line. Then we have the aspiration line plus the 60 centimeters, and also in this case, a single lumen, we have 17 to 19 Gs available. We have double lumen, like we discussed before, is a needle inside another needle, basically. So we have a channel to aspirate the follicular fluid and another channel to bring media inside the follicular fluid to do flushing. So we are gonna, this balloon that we have, yes or no, you can go ahead.
I would like to ask you if this needle without any tubing, is it the one used for a PRP application?
Good question. I don't know. 100% sure,
I
but
I talked one of the doctor, and I think so.
Okay, it might be, it might make sense because of the double lumen, but I can.
Oh, it's not a double lumen. It's just a single lumen, the one only with the needle and the luer lock. Then you put
the manual
aspirate-
one.
Yes, this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought.
She said he said 20 or 19G. This needle is good for PRP application, but I don't know the application exactly.
I'll ask because I don't know either. So I'll ask and I'll get back to you.
Okay.
Okay. But yeah, we were in the double lumen. Basically, it's a needle inside another needle, and this kind of needle is used to do flashing. Flashing is when the doctors is going to. So we have the follicle that we have seen in the video. And it's like a balloon full of water. So we aspirate the follicular fluid, and then we rinse again. So we bring new media inside the follicle to rinse it, and we do aspirate again. So that's why they use double lumen needles. And that's a technique that is used, for example, when we have a few number of follicles, when we do IBM techniques, that again, we have only 1 or 2 follicles, and we want to make sure we recover the eggs. In theory, with this technique, we are able to retrieve more eggs, and there is papers supporting this, but in the real practice, it takes much more time. And when the doctor has experience, there is no such a big difference in the number of eggs we collect. Okay, so some people, they use it as a routine or in IBM or in mind stimulations, like I said, but it's not a needle that is going to be used in all the labs, the routine. Okay, but so you know also the function. Then we have the references for pump aspiration, and again, it comes with the line with the extension or the larger aspiration line as well, or the double lumen with for flashing. And basically, that's it for the needs. So I like, again, if we do like we've done in the ET part, a little bit of discussion or feedback on your experience with the needles. I see also Mohammed El Subati that has a question. Please go ahead.
Hello, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Hi, I'm from Libya, and I would just like to have a small comment. Yes, that's the one we use for the PRB, as Mr. Honor said. Yes, we have the experience of using the this OPU needle for PRB, and actually the OPU needle is maybe the easiest part of all the Kitazato products that we are able to sell, because it's out of question, nobody is complaining, and everybody is happy with using that. Unlike the ET catheters, which are, I mean, a little bit difficult to convince other people to shift from the ones they usually used to use, like most commonly in Libya, Labotec and Cook. But everybody used this, and we just had the approach of handing out some free samples, and everybody is using the ET catheter of Kitazato, is always happy with that and having I mean, positive results and feedback.
Okay, thank you, Mohammed. Can you elaborate more how they use it for this technique, the needle? Or if you know, like how they, like Onur was asking a little bit, because I have no experience either with this PRP technique. So if you can elaborate, if you know, if not, it's okay.
Yeah. They use it just like the same technique as the cyst aspiration. Okay. And they just, yeah, it's almost the same.
Almost the same as it's, okay, I see, I understand. And they use the manual for that.
Yeah, manual, yeah. Yes.
Okay, thank you for your comment.
You're
And
welcome.
also, thank you for the feedback with the needles. Like this is the feedback we have in general that I said, like customers are really happy with OPU needles from Kitazato. Can you tell us if they use also thinner needles in Libya?
For the oocyte retrieval, they use the 17th gauge size.
Okay, 17. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, this is the standard, and most of them are using the same. For the cyst aspiration, they use the 16th usually.
Okay, yeah, for cyst aspiration 16. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else that would like to share their experience with the Kitazato needles, the feedback, comments? If you have detected also a trend in using thinner needles, like in Europe?
There is no tendency in Turkey for a thinner needle right now, unfortunately. They use
No.
17 and 16 gauge standard, but mainly 17.
Okay.
And mainly double and single, actually more or less the same. Maybe a little bit more single, but double number of double lumen needles used is also very high in Turkey. They like to make flush.
Yeah. Maybe it's a good opportunity to try to introduce our needles.
Yeah, we are trying. We are trying.
With the 19 or 18 or 18, probably it's easier if there is in 16 or 17. Try to introduce our needles to the market with this feature of thinner gauge. Yeah, maybe.
Maybe we will try.
Okay, great. Is anybody else has any other comments? We have lots of time, but we finished a little bit earlier today. Yes, Wael, please go ahead.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you very much for the training and everything, but I just missed some parts where you said that the OPU needle from Kitazato has some advantage over Vitrolife. I just
Vitrolife
missed that
sense.
part.
Yeah.
What was it?
Well, our needle, it has constant flow. The whole needle is the same size. Whereas the Vitrolife Sense, it's a little short, thinner at the beginning, and then it widens, it opens.
Okay.
So then the flow in this case is not constant, and this can create some cracks to the COCs, etc. So instead of going like in one flow all constant, it has like turbulences because of the difference in the diameter in the Vitrolife Sense needle. Exactly.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
No problem. What would you like to share with us, since you are here, the tendency in Egypt for the needles, the gauge?
It's 17 gauge mainly.
17G mainly, and maybe would be an opportunity to introduce our needles for them to use like 18 or something.
The only issue we're facing in Egypt is the pricing. Kitazato needles, we tried them before and customers like them very much, but we only had an issue with the pricing compared to competitors in Egypt.
Okay, I see. Okay, thank you very much. Well, is
Thank you.
anybody else has any comments or something would like to share with us about feedback with the needles? Okay. If not, then we are done for today. I'll see you all tomorrow. Again, at the same time, we'll be talking tomorrow about high pure oil and our culture media, all the new references that we have. It's going to be a more intense day tomorrow with all the new references that it's something new. Okay, so I'm very yes or no, please.
For tomorrow lecture, is there a chance you focus more of course, how to use first, but mainly
Competitors, yes.
competitors, because we don't know anything about culture medium. We never sold it. So
yes, exactly.
Topic we know because we are in IVF field, but we don't know exactly pros and cons against our rivals. We know for vitrification because we've been selling long time. We know needle catheters, IUI catheters, OPU needles. It's no problem. But for tomorrow's, I really appreciate just to make some comparisons so we can use it as a sales argument while we were sampling the people.
Yeah, and that's what exactly I have done. So in the presentation, I have first the explanation of what it is, how we use it, and then competitors and comparative analysis. So yeah, and I think it's very important.
So I have another thing now. I'm happy that it's finished now. I want to say thank you and bye-bye, and I'm leaving right now. Thank you very much.
See you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Thank you. Yeah, like Omar, you have a question? Please go ahead. Let me allow you to talk. Yeah. Your microphone is mute.
Hi, Rina. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
Good. Good for the presentation. But I have first a question for yesterday about the straws.
Yes.
Top. The cover of it, Doctor, the plugging in above it, they have some powder. He want to know what is this powder. Is it antibiotic powder or something like that, or the what?
The powder in the cover of the cryotop. That's correct.
Yes.
No, there is no antibiotic on it.
Oh. What is the powder?
What is it? I would like to maybe tell them to send us a picture. I don't know exactly what it refers to with some powder. So I know there is a cotton tissue. This is what it is, cotton tissue in the...
But he cut it with Pablo and Marco in last workshop in our lab.
Okay.
He showed them the powder of after the filtration cotton piece, you say.
Okay. Then let me ask to the manufacturer, to Japan, and I'll get back to you. But
Thanks a lot.
In theory, there is no antibiotics. This I can, because it would be written in the IFUs.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, but I'll find out and then I'll go back to you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Mohammed, your hand is also raised. You can go ahead, please. No? Okay.
Everybody is waiting for the culture media. So is there any news about how soon the culture media will be available for the international market?
Yeah, this I'll give you the news tomorrow. You have to wait until tomorrow.
Okay, I can't wait. Thank you so much for your nice presentation. It's very helpful, actually. Thank you so much.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that. If there's no more questions or comments, then we'll see you tomorrow here at the same time as today, 9:30 tomorrow, Central European time. Thank you, everybody. So hello again, everybody. Now we're gonna be talking about we're gonna be talking about ET transfers, embryo transfer catheters. Okay. So before we go into the presentation itself, I'd like to show you a video of how a transfer is performed in both sides, inside of the lab and inside of the OR. So let's watch the video first. So in this case, we see a transfer. The embryologist is bringing the catheter to the doctor. It's in Spanish. So we see the echogenicity of the transfer catheter. And now the embryologist is going to check back the catheter to make sure the embryo actually was in the uterus and it didn't get a stick into the catheter. So, and let's watch now another video. Okay, let me share with you here. In this case, we are gonna be watching the video inside the embryologist hood. So now it's taking the embryo from the culture drop to bringing it into the next dish where it's gonna be performing the embryo transfer. So this little dot that we almost don't see as the embryo is the embryo. Now it's going to load the embryo with the catheter. This is an Easy Pro routine Kitazato catheter. Before we load the embryo, we need to rinse the syringe, rinse the catheter. And after it's rinsed, we are gonna be doing some different phases to upload the embryo. So first we have media, then a phase of air, then media with the embryo. Then we do another phase of air. This air bubble is the one that is going to allow us visibility into the scan, okay? So now the embryologist brings the transfer to the doctor. They will perform the transfer, and then the embryologist will check it back to make sure that actually, like I said before, there is no embryo remaining in the catheter. We see it's very clean here. There's no embryo, and then the transfer is finished. Okay, after we do check, we rinse the catheter to make sure that the embryo is not there. Okay, this is a common routine procedure. After each transfer, the embryologist is going to check the catheter. And that'll be the end of the transfer. Now, in case we find the embryo again now, we will reload the catheter and redo the transfer. This doesn't happen so often, but now and then happens. So we'll reload it simply. Okay, presentation of the ET. Okay, ET and IUI catheters. Okay, we have the presentation here. Basically, let's start talking about the parts of the catheter. Like you know, there is mainly 3 elements into a catheter. We have the guide, we have the inner catheter, that in this case we see it inside, so that's the guide. This is the inner catheter that comes through the guide, and we see it here. And we have the obturator. Obturator is not mandatory. Some doctors, they like to use it for difficult transfers. Some others, they will not. Basically, the guide will serve us to go up to the cervix, okay? And because this part is too soft to go, so we need a guide. Then with this part, with the inner catheter, we'll go through the guide and we'll reach far beyond the cervix, which will be the uterus. So we need to deposit the embryo into the uterus, but without touching the fundus of the uterus. And then the stylet, what provides is more rigidity. So in case the guide is not rigid enough, because we have a difficult transfer due to the anatomy of the patient, then we'll go with the obturator first, okay, which is more rigid. Basically, there is two types of catheters. We have a straight or pre-curve. The market is basically divided. There is no one better than the other, although the pre-curve ones, the advantage is that they fit better the anatomy of the uterus of the woman. So, but like I said, some doctors, they like the straight catheter that they will themselves bend to adapt it to each patient. But what is important also is that the catheters, they need to be soft. So the softer the catheter, the less damage to the tissue, and of course, the best results we get. So what is important in a catheter is basically the softness, the handling, and the visibility, okay? So let's see our catheters. First of all of them are soft, and all of them, they have ergonomic handles, okay? And we have a black mark in the catheters as well to know the orientation if we curve them, okay? So this is our first reference that we have, the AC Pro routine. It's basically the equivalent to Wallace. We have 18 or 23 different colors, and with or without the obturator, the stylet, okay? Then we have the AC Pro routine supported, which it has this metal ring, or not metal ring, sorry, this metal support to give us more comfort when we're doing the transfers. When you saw the video, when the embryologists, they perform the transfer, it kind of, when we have only this inner guide that is very, very soft, it kind of trembles a little bit, so it's easy if we have this support. Although there is some embryologists that they would prefer with no support, that's fine. And also the support is helpful when we do the transfer, when we give to the doctor the catheter with the embryo to introduce into the guide. It's easier if we have this metal as well, okay? Again, we have it in two lengths, 18 or 23. Then we have the AC Pro Master. In this case, is echogenic, is a straight catheter, echogenic, and we can have it supported or non-supported, okay? So this is, again, a matter of preference, but the advantage of this AC Pro Master is that it's echogenic and allows us to look properly into the scan, okay? Then we have this reference. This is only a trial, okay? It's AC Pro trial. We need to look here that the color is gray. So when our color here is gray, it means it's a trial. So there's no opening in here. There is no opening in here. So I cannot perform a real transfer with it because I cannot load the embryo. I said that some doctors are going to use as a routine to do an embryo transfer trial. Sometimes not even at the time of the transfer, like another day, they just call the patient to a trial transfer, just to make sure how it is, if it's difficult or not, etc. And some doctors, they don't use it at all. And some doctors only would use it in some cases, okay? But for you to know, if your doctor never uses trial and all of a sudden orders this reference, just make sure with them, this is the one they want, because we had the complaint sometimes, okay, this catheter, they have no opening. And then we had to explain, and that's the trial one. So you should order the Easy Pro routine or supported whatever, but not the trial, okay? Then we have here all the references that I encourage you to go to the website, look at them and learn. Basically, when it finishes in 18, it's because it's the 18 size, 18 centimeters, or 23 is the 23, supported or non-supported, etc. So you have all the combinations and the references here. Then let's talk about pre-curve catheters. So our competency basically will be the catheters from Cook, right? Then, like its name says, it's pre-curve and it fits more the anatomy of the patients. Then we have both options with a straight tip or with bulb tip. In theory, the bulb tip is more atraumatic, okay, goes smoothly through the tissue. And it has also this metal ring for greater visibility and more safety. So we know properly where is the end of the guide of the catheter, okay? Because this ring is echogenic, so we see it in the scan. Then we have the stopper. The stopper is also a feature that is very useful. We can move it along my guide to know where I want to stop, so where I don't want to go further. This is helpful because when I do the transfer, I need to go into the uterus, but do not touch the fundus of the uterus. If I touch the fundus of the uterus is going to contract and make some contractions that are detrimental for the outcome of the embryo transfer, okay? So the stopper is a great feature that tells me, okay, don't go behind this point because then we touch the fundus of the uterus. So it's a great feature that the pre-curve catheters, they have as well. Then we have a guide with this ergonomic handle and most and very important, wide opening. So when we're performing the embryo transfer in the OR room, we have the lights off basically, so it's kind of dark, so you don't see a lot. You have the patient first with the guide already inserted. Then the doctor's hands are there, and then your hands as embryologists have to go and find the opening. So I really appreciate as an embryologist that the opening is wider because it's easier. It makes my life much easier. Okay, like I said, it's kind of dark and it's crowded, so I don't see very well. So the opening wide is a great advantage compared with other competitors. Okay, for example, those with Wallace, it's very tiny opening, so many times we have to be spending some time getting nervous, having the embryo at room temperature, which is not great, and it's indefinite is easier, and it's a great advantage that the opening is wider. Then it comes with the guide catheter plus the inner catheter, okay? And we have different diameters, either 3 French or 4 French. That's just a measurement. And in this case, the length we offer is either 22 or 25. And also they can order with or without the obturator. Then we have the references here with all the combinations that we have seen for pre-curve catheters, okay? And then as a novelty, we have the Ryden. The Ryden here, it's a new catheter that Kitazato just launched last year. As you know, other brands, they haven't produced any new catheter in a long time. So we have really here a great advantage with our competitors to introduce the Ryden catheter to the market, okay? So very important that first we show to our customers, we give them samples, also that we do follow up on them, and we get the feedback and we try to introduce in the market. So far, the feedback we have is excellent. Many of the customers that they have tried, they're really happy with it. And let's see why. Let's see some of the features. So the right end is fully echogenic, okay? Like we can see here in the uterus, we see all the way the catheter. So we have here, this is the cervix, and this is the uterus, okay? This is the fundus of the uterus, and this is where we want to put the embryo. So where the arrow is the end of the tip of the catheter. And then once the embryologist or the doctor press the syringe, the embryo will come and be placed right here where we want it to be. It also comes with this outer metal support, okay, for more comfort and easy used. And it comes as well with a large and user-friendly opening. It has the stopper, like we said, and has the bulb-shaped tip for a traumatic insertion. And like I said, it's a great catheter. So we have it in 3 French, so it's tiny, and embryologists like it better, and in different lengths, 22 or 25. And it's a great opportunity to introduce in your market this product that has been new, developed, and it has top features. So we can compete with Labotech, with the Ryden here, and also with Cook catheters. And to end this presentation today, let's talk about IUI catheters. It's simple. We have discussed as well with some of the other distributors that some, depending on the market, some doctors, they don't even care about IUIs and they do not perform. But for those where they do perform, although the results are they can have, there's a lot of room for improvement in IUIs in general. We can sell our products as a high quality product, okay? So basically we have 4 different rigidities with the IUI catheters. So we go from soft white one, ultimate, soft, intermediate, ultimate, and hard, the black one. It's basically the same material, but we get different rigidities, okay? And as you know, in the IUI, we also go through the uterus, so it's an intrauterine insemination. We go through the uterus, so we have to reach basically the same point with the embryo transfer catheter. But in this case, we are gonna let the sperm previously pre-washed. So in the catheter, what we're loading is a pre-washed sample of sperm, and the holes are not in the tip, but rather on the sides. So this sperm can go through the fallopian tubes and swim up to the ovaries and find the oocyte, okay? And that's it basically for the embryo transfers for ETHs and IUIs. So thank you very much for being here today.